Okay, hello everyone. I am Amy Franz. I am the curriculum manager for the pre-matriculation program, and today I just wanted to film a short video to give you an idea of how to approach a session guide and also a little tutorial on eMedley. So firstly, looking at our session guide. So as you can see, you get one session guide per week, and it is split up by activity or class that you have. So the first class of the week is the case opening, and then you have histology, and so on. And so what the session guide is a list of objectives for each class split into two different types: the RAT objectives, or readiness assurance test objectives, and then the activity/exam objectives. So when you are studying for your weekly quiz on Monday, you will study the RAT or pre-quiz objectives. Versus when you are studying for the content exam, you want to not only study the RAT objectives, but also these activity/exam objectives. So the idea is, in class, you will cover the activity objectives, and before class, to get prepared, you will cover the RAT objectives. So first we have up here is how you can access the resources. So the first way you can access them is through eMedley. So when you open up eMedley, it looks something like this, and you can click didactic, curriculum calendar, and yours is going to look a little different than mine. This is what mine looks like as a student. So if you click on the IRAT GRAT, you will see that all the objectives for the RAT is listed. So this is one way you can access all those objectives. And as you can see, the resources are linked here. So here's a PowerPoint, here's a chapter to a book. And so you can get to them through that way. The other way you can get to them is by clicking this link right here. What this does is it takes you to a OneDrive folder. And this OneDrive folder is split up between weeks, and you can see all the resources are listed here. So if you're looking for one of the PowerPoints or one of the Word documents, they should all be in here. And then you can also click this link and it will take you to a list of textbooks. And then lastly, also, you can just click the links in the document itself. So if you're trying to find the resource for this objective, just click on it and it will take you to a document. So that's the first part of the session guide, is just how to find the different resources that you will need. The second thing is the event name, date, time, faculty, and then we can really get into the objectives. So the first column here is just the number, and this is just to keep track of the objective, and it's nothing to really worry about necessarily, just to kind of keep track of them. And then the second column right here is what you need to know. So this is what you are trying to answer and what you're trying to prep for before class and for that RAT quiz. And how you do that is with this third column here, the resources. So in order to answer this objective right here, you want to check the resource here and read through it and see how you can answer that objective. And then the last column is the faculty member. So in this case, for the case opening, you are going to have the TAs. But if we scroll down and look at something like anatomy, you can see that there are faculty members listed. So if you have a question about the objective, you think it's unclear, or you want to clarify something, you can look in that column and email them and ask them that question. So all of these here are the RAT or pre-quiz objectives. But then there's also these activity/exam objectives. And like I said earlier, this is just objectives that you should be able to answer after you go to class. So it's that upper level and higher level thinking that is expected of you on the content exam, but not necessarily on that RAT quiz. And so you can go through these after class to see if you got what you should have out of class. So that's kind of the objectives, and as you can see, for each activity you have a set of objectives. So for this class, there's not a set of objectives per se, just a little bit of pre-work. And so you can click on this link and this opens up a pre-record. And so using this PowerPoint right here and that pre-record link, you can go through that. And then, for example, for Medmorph or anatomy, you have some pre-records and PowerPoints, but you also have some book reading. So using this link, you can go through and it should take you to the correct book. And that is how you do that. And again, going through and just answering these objectives, making sure you understand them, that will help you prepare for the RAT quiz. And again, we have those activity objectives to get that higher level thinking for the content exam and what you should be able to do after class. And that is about it for the session guide. It's about the same all the way through, just textbooks, PowerPoints, pre-records, and for each activity. And there's also some YouTube videos on here. So knowing how to navigate and approach a session guide is going to be really helpful, especially going into medical school. It can be overwhelming at times. So some students approach it by just going straight down the list and going through each objective or going by activity. Everyone does it differently. But yeah, that is the session guide. So now moving on to eMedley. Again, this is what it will look like when you log in, and there's a few different tabs. The first tab is clinical, which I don't think is applicable for pre-matriculation, more so whenever you actually start medical school, but what you'll really be looking at is the didactic tab. And so if you click on curriculum calendar, it's going to have your entire schedule on here. So again, this is not your schedule. This was my schedule from this past year of school, so it's going to be a little different. But the main thing is if you click on the IRAT GRAT and scroll down, like I showed you earlier, it's going to have all of the RAT objectives in one place for you. And it will also have the session guide linked at the bottom. And then you will have individual events for each activity. So for example, we have OMM, and it will have the room number listed where you will go. We'll have the faculty, and if you scroll down, it will have objectives. And these objectives are those activity/exam objectives that you will need to take home and look at after class. And then another thing that is important is down at the bottom is where the in-class PowerPoints will be posted for each activity. So those aren't in the RAT, those aren't in the session guide. They will be linked in eMedley under the specific activity. So make sure you're looking there for those in-class PowerPoints. And that is basically how the curriculum calendar is set up. And there's also something called Educate, which this just updated. And this is where you can get your grades. And so you can go to My Grades and choose a section. And you can also click on My Feed, which this will be where new things are posted. So announcements that are important or PowerPoints for in class will also be posted here. And so it's important to check that every now and then. And so that is the course feed, or it's now called Educate. And then the last thing is the My Tests. And this is where you will take your exams and your RATs and your practice quizzes. And again, mine looks different than yours, but whenever it is time to take those RAT quizzes, they will show up and you can just press Take Test and an attendance code will show up. And that will be provided to you in class and you can take it through there. So that is also really important. But I think that is all. The main thing is with that OneDrive, let's see, you will have access to all the PowerPoints. They are linked in the session guide, but if you want to see them all together in the OneDrive, you can also look there. And of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me or Miss Kelly or ask one of your TAs. I know it can be confusing at first to understand the session guide and all the language that comes with it, but yeah, I'm excited for this program to start and I look forward to meeting everyone. Thank you.